Start with 17 verse 1, but tonight's verse is verse 9. Here we go. It says, "And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornications. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath 7 heads and 10 horns. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is." Now tonight's verse. "And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth."
All right, here we go. All right, we'll start out and we'll read. I'm going to read. Have Debbie read 9 and 10 together. So Debbie, if you could read 9 and 10 together, and we'll talk about this. Now, again, we've talked about all this, so we've talked about all this stuff, and we're just going to elaborate a little bit more on it as we get in here. And we've got some diagrams to put up there. So we'll put up some of these diagrams, and these diagrams will help us to understand maybe some of what's being talked about here. Okay, Debbie, if you read verse 9 and 10 together.
Okay. This calls for a mind with understanding. The 7 heads of the beast represent the 7 hills where the woman rules. They also represent the 7 kings. 5 kings have already fallen. The 6th now reigns. The 7th is yet to come, but his reign will be brief.
All right, so we're going to talk about this, and we're going to put some stuff on the bulletin board, and we'll look at this from 2 different angles or 2 different directions, because people look at it 2 different ways, and we'll explain both those ways. The 7 mountains are 7 empires ruled by 7 kings or rulers. Now, when you talk about 7 kings, it could be presidents, prime ministers, emperors, dictators, whatever. And it said the 7 nations are controlled. Remember, these 7 nations are controlled by this woman who represents false religion. Again, we see here that all religion other than Christianity is demonically or controlled by Satan, demonically controlled. Okay, so we can look at this 2 different ways. We saw in the first part of this chapter, the angel took John out in the wilderness and showed him what was going on. So we have the angel telling John the revelation of Jesus Christ. Okay, so remember people remember we showed John up there, the angel, and we showed. Okay, so you remember that. So it says here, 5 kings have already fallen, the 6th now reigns, and the 7th is yet to come, but this reign will be brief. Okay, so some people take this, since he was talking to John, that these and I'll read it here. These 5 are fallen during John's time on earth. 1 is still reigning during John's day on earth. And 1 king has not yet to come, and probably will not come until tribulation begins. Some people look at that as he's talking to John, so this is John's time. Other people look at this and say, no, he's telling John about what's happening in tribulation. So this is the 7 kings during the tribulation period. Some have fallen and some have not fallen. But if we look at this, we can see that these could be some of the same nations. So we're going to put some nations up there. Hopefully we got them. We're going to put some nations up there. We want to put the first nation up there. During John's day, what nation, what group was controlling the world? What empire?
America.
America?
No.
Thank you, Pastor.
No, that wasn't it.
All right, I'm going to ask John. John, who was in control during John the Revelator's time? Who was running this world? You got it, John. I know you do. It's all on the tip of your tongue. What empire? Someone give us a hint.
What do you say, John?
Roman?
There you go, John. The Roman Empire. Okay, so let's look at the Roman Empire. Look at what the Roman Empire controlled. So can you make out the countries there? It's got Africa, Costa Rica, Bulgaria, Romania. All these countries, these was controlled by the Roman Empire.
There's a little bit of spot right there. There it is. Go ahead.
All these, so Rome was in control during John's time. So we talk about the country that was in control in John's time was Rome. Yeah. So if it's during John's time, the one that now is the Roman Empire. But if it's not during John's time, it's during the tribulation period, this could be one of those 7 nations. The 5 had fallen. This could be one of those fallen nations. Does Rome play a part in tribulations? Absolutely, Rome plays a part in tribulations. You can put it in there somewhere. It's in there. It's either in control, going to be in control, or has been in control. I said that right.
That's really good. I am being saved. Was saved. I will be saved. Yeah, sorry.
Is Rome going to be a part of it? Yes, Rome is. Okay, so we're going to look at some of the nations that have been on this earth that have been fallen. So we're talking about 5 nations that's fallen. Look how big the Roman Empire was. Yeah. And this is the Roman Empire in 117 AD. Okay, at 170 AD, when it was greatest. When was John giving us the book of Revelations? What year? Come on, guys. 95. He said 95. Somebody yelled 95. Again. So Rome was in, this was when they were at their greatest, but Rome was in charge in 95 AD. All those Caesars.
Little Jerusalem right there. I'm pointing at Little Jerusalem right there. That's what I was pointing out. It's Israel. Anyways, go ahead. You know, did Rome ever get completely defeated? Did it ever completely end? Or did it just kind of evolve, if you want to use that word, into like, I don't know, the British Empire?
It's not the empire it was. Okay, anyway, throw me another one up there. I'm looking for BC.
Oh, you're going to get it.
I'm going to get it.
This is Assyrians.
All right, the Assyrian Empire, 824 BC, and now this is when it was at its largest. Was in 761? When was it at its largest?
Yeah, it looks like 671.
Okay, so you see Cyprus, you see the Mediterranean Sea, you see Egypt, you see all these countries over there. Okay, so is there an Assyrian Empire now? No. Is there countries over there that exist? Of course, there's countries over there that exist. But this empire was before John's time, but it's also before tribulation time, isn't it? So one of the empires you could be talking about is the Assyrian Empire. Another one that could be talking about is the Babylonian Empire. Do we have the Babylon? Oh, yeah. There's Syria, Jordan, Iraq. There's Egypt over here, the Red Sea. There's Babylon's Iran, Saudi Arabia. So there's the Babylonian Empire when Nebuchadnezzar was in control before Christ. So is one of those empires talked about in tribulation, the Babylonian Empire and the Assyrian Empire? Absolutely. So it was also before John's time, but is also before tribulation time. So are they speaking about these empires? Yes, of course they are. Okay, give me a couple empires that was after John's time, but is not today. Alexander the Great, the Grecian Empire, one of those, I don't know. Where are we at here? Oh, okay. We have Alexander the Great. Look at the world that this guy here controlled. See, I mean, just Mesopotamia, Israel, Babylon up there, Assyria. Look at, and of course, he was going to have his empire, or his capital, was going to be in Babylon. Again, Alexander, it never come to be. It never worked out. He never achieved what he wanted to achieve, but he certainly achieved a lot.
He sure did.
Yeah. Now, do we have another one?
Very
okay, yeah, okay, good. Roman Empire, Kurdish Empire, oh man. All these other empires.
Yeah.
So there's several empires. I don't know when all these came into place. Of course, we know the Roman Empire, 117 AD. So anyway, you have all those empires. So he talks about the seven. He talks about the empires that were.
What was that?
The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, that's 1683 AD.
Yeah. Another huge empire. We'll name some of these guys that were. Do we get some names up there? If we don't, but we'll name some of these guys. Let's just go to the top of our head. Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah.
You know him. Esther's husband, Artaxerxes. Esther's husband ruled all over. They made movies and stuff about him. Alexander the Great. We've said him.
Yep.
All the Caesars during the Roman Empire. All the pharaohs during the great Egyptian Empire. All the pharaohs. So the pastor's got some greats. Throw them out there.
You got Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Yeah, don't forget him.
Ivan the Terrible.
Ivan the Terrible.
Of course, Herod. Back in the
Herod, yes, during the Roman Empire.
And then several Romans. Attila the Hun.
Attila the Hun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to pronounce some of these other people.
Well, we don't have that, but so guys that tried to either did control the world or tried to control the world. In our modern day, we have guys like Hitler and Mussolini who tried to control the world and almost did. Wow. So we got those guys. And of course, we're going to read those in the next verse.
I guess would Pharaoh count? All the pharaohs.
All the pharaohs, yes, of course.
Yeah.
All the pharaohs, yeah, they were in control of all what we call the known world. Okay, so there was 5 that is gone, 1 that is, and 1 is yet to come. All right, you with me on that? And this could be during John's time. This could be during tribulation time. Now, if it's during the tribulation period's time, you could add a whole lot of. Maybe it's the United Kingdom. Maybe it's even the United States is gone. We don't know. See, if it's in tribulation times, but we know some of these are gone, and we know some of these are going to play a part in the end times. Okay, verse 11. And we referred to verse 11, but verse 11, if you would, share it.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
All right, so that is the same thing in verse 8. We said that we put down Nebuchadnezzar once tried to control the world. The Roman Empire tried to control the world. The Caesars tried to control the world. Napoleon, never did put him out there, tried to control the world. The Catholic Church once controlled the religious world as we know it. The beast could either be a person, it could be a religion, it could be an empire that once controlled the world or tried to control the world and will try again to make every effort to control the world. But remember now, we had a guy, was it from some foreign country? This thing's getting around the world, guys. And he tried to teach us a little bit, and so he called us and told us who these guys were and tried to help us out. Not me, conferred with the pastor. But now remember, this beast is being controlled by false religion.
Yes.
So there's 2 things we've got to have. We've got to have a country that's controlled by false religion. Now put that map of Israel up there, the current map of Israel. Okay, as we know today, could this beast be the United States?
It'd be kind of difficult.
Yeah, is the United States controlled by false religion? No. Christianity is still in control of the United States. There may be false religion out there, but it's not controlled by false religion. See? So there's some of these countries that this just could not be in today's world. Now, could this be in a tribulation period? It very well could be. But when you start calling names out of people that we know that's live in the United States today, no, it's not these people. We're still a Christian nation. So let's look at let's look at Israel. Get way out there. All right. When you look at Israel and you look around Israel, you see Jordan, you see Lebanon, you see Iraq, you see Kuwait. Spread it out a little bit more. There's Iran over there, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. Are these nations controlled by false religion? Yes. See? So Israel's surrounded by nations that today is still controlled by false religion. Can you make it bigger? Yeah, keep going. Afghanistan, Pakistan, going out there a little bit further. India, Turkey, China. Well, you can't see China.
Go back in just a little bit.
Go back in a little bit.
Right there, yeah.
China, up above there is Russia. So, what religion controls China? Someone say Buddha?
Yeah.
Buddha! Yeah, Buddha! What about India? Hindu. So we know already that there's nations out there that are controlled by what we would call false religion. I know people don't like to hear that, but it's false religion. So it's not the United States. You might say, well, the United Kingdom, England was controlled by false religion when they had the Church of England, but that would be a stretch, guys. I mean, I know that the church was there to control the people and wasn't there to promote Christ, but it still was not the false religion as we call it today, that Christ is nowhere in there, see? So that would be a stretch. So when you talk about nations that are controlled by false religion, you have all kinds of nations in South America, all kinds of nations in Africa. There's all kinds of religions in Africa, voodoos, and go ahead.
Like you said, like here's Israel, right? It's surrounded by Muslim country Egypt, Muslim country Saudi Arabia, Muslim country Iran, Iraq, Muslim country Turkey. It's completely surrounded by Muslims.
It is.
And over here you got Catholicism in Italy, which you know.
Sure.
You
Yes.
got, of course, Hindu over here, and Buddhist over here, and who knows what
Yep.
Russia is.
Yeah, this was who knows. Very good. Who knows what religion some of these countries do have? Some of them have no religion. Is no religion or no worship, is that false religion? Yes, of course it is. All right. Jimmy. I'll give you a long one, Jimmy. 12, 13, and 14.
Okay. And the 10 horses which thou sawest are 10 kings. The 10 horns, horns.
Yeah.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
All right. The 10 horns are 10 kingdoms that will form a coalition and will turn over all power and authority to the Antichrist during the tribulation period. All right, get that. So are those 10 kingdoms here today? No. If they're here today, there's not that coalition. So there's 10 kingdoms that will turn their authority over to the Antichrist during the tribulation period. And of course, they will be part of the Antichrist army that tries to destroy Israel, but Christ will defeat them during the Battle of Armageddon. Henceforth, their time will be short. So when you read that, it talks about their time being short. Of course it's going to be short. It's going to be a 7-year duration at the most. So we have 10 kings are going to form a coalition, and they're going to give all the authority to the Antichrist. Now, these 10 kings are different than the 7 kings that are controlled by false religion. And you say, wow, what's going to be the difference? Well, it's going to answer. Chapter 17 is going to give us the answer. It's going to say, why did these 10 kings give all their authority to the Antichrist? Why not just have those 7 kingdoms that are run by the false religion? Wonder why. Why would you think that the Antichrist would have anything to do with false religion or be against false religion? Why? There you go. Sherry gave an answer. The Antichrist doesn't want anybody worship but the Antichrist.
That's right.
If you're worshiping Buddha, he wants to cut out Buddha. If you're worshiping Muhammad, he wants to cut out Muhammad. He wants you to worship him, see? So these 10 kingdoms have to give him authority so he can fight with these kingdoms that are controlled by false religion to defeat them so you will worship him and him alone. But that's for another day. But Sherry's got the right answer. All right, guys, it's 8:30. You like to keep it short.
Yeah. You know, we say those things, and I'm just going to piggyback off what you're saying real quick. You know, is the false prophet alive today or here today? that answer is like yes and no. Is the Antichrist alive today? Yes and no. Are these 10 nations, 10 kingdoms around today? Yes and no. Like we're so close. The answer has been no for so long.
Yes.
But now we're getting close to the answer being, well, yeah, if the Lord returns tomorrow and the tribulation starts the next day, just throwing it out there, then the Antichrist would have to be right around here. He couldn't be just being born. You see what I mean? He would have to be able to step into his position very shortly. Same thing with the false prophet, same thing with the rest of it. So these 10 nations, they have to be right close to be informed or just being in a point. Again, the coalition might not be there, but there's talks of it. I'll give you some what ifs. We talk about this G7 summit. They're getting ready to go from the G7 summit to a G10 summit. They've been talking real strong about having it be the G10 instead of the G7. It's been the G7 for the longest time, and they're talking about moving it to make it the G10 and include a couple of other nations. I mean, not saying that's going to be this coalition, but we're seeing these types of things happen.
Right.
And it's like, well, it's never been a G10. It's been the G7 for a really long time. Then all of a sudden, there's going to be these 10 kings, and they're not formed as of yet. Well, that could be so much. So, anyways, and if you take those G7, they're of all kinds of different tribes and languages and tongues, but they're not all the false religions that surround in Israel.
That's right.
So again, there's two different things being talked about there.
Two
Just
different
using
groups.
them as an example. So
Very good example.
using today's news that we're supposed to watch and pray about, we can see easily how this could happen and happen very quickly. Very, very quickly. Especially with something like, watch out, the Great Reset being right there implemented in our world. And I listened to our wonderful, what's Jen Psaki's position called?
Press secretary.
Thank you. Press secretary. She said Biden's Build Back Better plan like 5, 6, 7 times in the last one I watched. And Build Back Better is just another synonymous name for the Great Reset. I mean, it's the same thing. So when we're talking about Build Back Better, you can't build back and especially Build Back Better, till you tear it all down. It's the same thing as a Great Reset. When you hit reset, you wipe everything off the map and you start over. When you build back better, you tear down so that you can build back better. Right? You can't build a barn back better until you tear it down and get it out of the way. Some might call that a reset. You reset your barn. Just saying, throwing those things out there. So the key words and phrases and things to listen out for as we're going through Revelation 17, which is, in my strong opinion, all happening during Revelation 17. But I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, when you say, could the United States be in Revelations? Yes, if we're one of those 10 kings, we could.
Sure.
And we sure don't want that to be the United States. But we won't be here, guys. Again, it's not the United States of the day. It's the United States of tribulation time. So some of these guys are very confused. A pastor said he listened to a prominent minister, and he said the minister sounded like it was my sermon,
He agreed with us.
And it made me feel very good. I have to listen to this guy more. I don't actually listen to him, so I should listen to him more. If he agrees with me, maybe I'll listen to him more. But also, I want you guys to continue to like, subscribe, and share to get it right.